Simon started a new era at Silver Jubilee Park. We've got lots to look forward to, but before that, talk us through what happened when Jimmy left the club under mutual consent.
So, at the end of last season, the objective that we'd set Jimmy was to stay up. He stayed up. I think I might have mentioned in passing 16th would do for me. He brought us 16th, so we came into this coming season full of excitement, optimism and expectation, and I think the season started pretty well with draws at Weston-super-Mare against Police, against Wimborne, win against Chesham, and with a bit of luck we could possibly have had four wins rather than just the one that we'd had at the time. But then I think things started to deteriorate. Again, I think a lot of it was bad luck, but over a period of time when you can't really put everything down to bad luck, and I think that the board and Jimmy came to the conclusion, reluctantly I have to say, that it was time for a change. We'd sat down in October with Jimmy and we talked about the need for performances to be better. We talked about the need for more stability in the squad, and I think when we sat down at the end of October, I think we all concluded that the performances had not improved to the requisite level, and there was still a significant degree of instability in the squad, and so I think we reached that conclusion that perhaps that particular race had now run and it was time to turn the page and bring somebody else in.
So you've turned the page and brought somebody else in, Lee Allinson. Why him?
So Lee came onto my radar when we played Biggleswade here in the FA Trophy last year. We started very, very well. I think we were 1 goal ahead, and we ended up losing the game 2-1. And I liked the way that he set his team up. I liked the football that they played. I had the impression that they were a smaller club than us in terms of, well, certainly in terms of history, but just in terms of infrastructure. And yet there seemed to be no difference between the kind of side that Lee was able to put together and the sort of side that we were putting together. Of course, we were very much in transition mode at the time. But even as I then felt that he was somebody that I should be watching. So with the beauty of social media these days, I followed him on Twitter, I followed Biggleswade, I saw their performances, I saw their personnel. I saw that he was able to get the most out of players like Matt Ball that perhaps we hadn't been able to get the most out of previously, and the same with Sean Lucian. And I just, a light bulb went off thinking that there was somebody who could very well do a very good job for Hendon Football Club if and when the opportunity arose. So once the decision had been taken that it was time to make a change, we went in that direction, and Lee was our first choice, and we're absolutely delighted that he came on board. I think when we sat down with him to interview him, we just got positive vibes, got good answers to questions, and I think it's probably for you to ask Lee this question. I think probably Lee saw a football club that he wanted to get involved with, and saw that perhaps the opportunity to develop his career at Hendon Football Club and the potential that we have to go forward. So I think it was I'd like to think it was a love at first sight. We loved him when we saw him. I'd like to think that he loved what we had to say. Hopefully it's a marriage made in heaven, or a marriage made in Hendon, and hopefully Lee's with us for the long term. We get out of the rut that we're in and we kick on, and I've told Lee that my objective is that we're in Step 3 football next year. I don't expect anything more than that. Again, next season hopefully we'll have an opportunity and a budget to enable him to go a little bit further.